Hey guys, quick update on the rock bouncer project. I've been pretty excited to keep working on this thing, had a lot of motivation on it. So I've got the entire chassis cleaned up. I've TIG welded all the joints and then put some body filler on them and then sanded them with some emery cloth to just try and smooth out everything as much as I can. So I'm pretty happy with how it sits now, and I think it'll be alright for the purpose. Down the road there's probably some that I might redo. I might we'll see how it goes as the project goes on down the road. Anyway, one big update is that I was on eBay the other day searching for something, and I came across an 8th scale motor that is something that I really wanted to incorporate into this project. These rock bouncers are all about the tube work, and they're all open. They very rarely have any panels on them or anything like that. So this empty front engine compartment usually looks really odd to me on the RC versions of these. So I searched and I found this plastic 8 scale motor model, and it was out of a monogram 1982 Corvette, I believe. So this motor is a crossfire injection motor, which is not at all what this full scale version runs. It runs a LS motor. So what I'm going to do is I've already taken most of the top end apart. I'll also be taking off the valve covers, and then I'll be modeling a new top end that looks like the LS. And what I plan on doing is having that model 3D printed, and then I'll use that to replicate that top end look of an LS motor. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Got a lot of work to do before that, but that's my overall goal. Now this thing also has a full bell housing and transmission, which is going to have to get cut off. There's just not room for it. Once our real transmission and everything is in there, there's going to be almost no room for any of the actual transmission. Probably be able to retain some of the bell housing, and I'll trim it as tight as I can to retain as much as I can to try and get the most out of the scale look of it. The one other big thing was the suspension up front and the steering. Now, with planning on using this model motor, I'm going to pull the motor out. I just have it resting in there for mock-up. It's very light. It's only maybe an ounce or so. I'll try and get a weight on it, but it's just very light. It won't hardly hinder any performance. And then I might even, when I'm in there trying to make that top end look like what I want, I might use it to house like my ESC, BEC receiver, things like that, just to fully utilize that space and turn it into like my receiver box. I'll be welding on some tabs to the chassis to come up and support the motor, and then I'll be building headers, which I'm guessing I'm going to be building those out of brass. I think that'll be the easiest way to do that, and I think that'll be I'll be able to get the best bends. Anybody who watches how it's made has maybe seen the ones on how they make musical instruments with freezing some water inside of brass tubes with some dish soap in them to make them slick, so that you can bend it without kinking the tube. And that's what I'm going to give a shot. I've never done it, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun. So anyway, that will be what I'm planning on giving a shot for that. But anyway, the front suspension and servo. I've got the suspension mocked up with some all-thread links, and I bent them in a pretty tight cradle there around the motor to try and maximize my clearances for that motor, so I can get the motor as far forward as I can for the most scale look. I've mocked up some stock axial wraith shocks on here just for length. I think they'll work. I think I'll run it, well, I'm guessing with the weight of the truck they'll get a shock will get a pretty good amount of sag, but I do plan on running it about a 50-50 setup. So at ride height it will be 50% compressed, so there won't be much up travel, but that's what I'm expecting. Anyway, on the servo end, I really didn't know what I was going to do for sure. I didn't know if I was going to leave it on the axle or put it in the chassis. With that motor in there and everything being as tight as it is, I'm thinking I'm going to chassis mount the servo up in this area, laying it flat, and then I'll try and camouflage it as best I can. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is vinyl wrap it with just to try and camouflage it. Maybe put a radiator decal on it, or black it out on one side, or I don't know. I'll get to that when I get to that. but that's my thought. So anyway, I'll weld up some tabs up here in the front to try and support that servo as best I can, and I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. And then the steering, you know, I'll just have a drag link out of the front, which isn't perfectly scaled to these because they're almost always running full hydro steering, but we're working with what we can. So that's the goal. The other thing, these links and everything will be replaced with some most likely stainless, because stainless you can get pretty good bends out of, and it's strong enough. So that's probably what I'll run. But for now, that is what we're looking at. Wanted to get this up there just for one more update. Like I said, I've been pretty excited to keep working on this thing. It's been a lot of fun. So that's where we're at for tonight. Hopefully I'll have the rear suspension mocked up in a couple of days, and I'll keep moving from there. Once I get the suspension all done, then I'll be moving on to the interior area. I'll get the transmission in there, I'll get that motor set in stone, and then I'll start building the interior panels to figure out how they need to fit in case I need to add any tabs to the chassis before putting the frame and paint. So that'll be my plan of attack, and I'm looking forward to keeping moving. So we will see you guys next time. Hopefully I'll have another video up maybe later this week on it. I'm not sure. I've got to get the Poison Spider Wraith budget build video done on Thursday, and I have not done that yet. So that's on my to-do list. So hopefully I'll get something up on this like, I don't know, Saturday or something like that. So watch out for that. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys later.